Well, there's 3 bills that went through, all the way through the House, or sitting in the Senate Judiciary, and one of those bills would keep information of concealed handgun licensees, that information's on applications, et cetera, private, and keep their names private, so they're not showing up on some list on the newspaper saying, okay, Veronica Newf or whoever has a concealed handgun license. So keep that information private. It passed the House. I can't remember how the vote came out, but it was overwhelming, I'd say. It's sitting in the Senate committee, and I'm hearing that they're going to be hearing it next Thursday, but with a few possible amendments. And as I'm piecing it together, what I'm hearing from folks is that it there could be amendments that allow schools to ban CHL holders. In other words, any CHL holder, not just teachers, but I'm just talking about anybody coming to pick up their kid or whatever, would be carrying illegally, potentially, if a school was able to say, we don't want CHL holders or people packing, even if they have a CHL, to come onto our school grounds. So that's one thing. So it's just going to be the bad guys who are carrying on the school grounds.
So the thing that happened at Virginia Tech is they had a no gun rule on their campus, and then that allowed the bad guy to come in.
So the law-abiding citizens will not, and then you only have the lawbreakers doing it. So anyway, not a good idea, but there's a couple other things that might happen. There's another bill that I had just clearing up. A lot of other representatives also had. I mean, I don't want to say it's all mine, but just cleaning up some language of something that we did last session, which was just resulted in a ridiculous outcome, where if you're on an ATV, even if you had a concealed handgun license, you couldn't carry while you're on your ATV legally. So there was a bill to clarify that and some other things that other people messed up last session and what that were passed. And that bill's also sitting over in that committee, and it could be a possible amendment to put locks on those guns. So we'll see how that language comes out, if that's going to also apply to concealed handgun licensees locking their guns up or what. Who knows? But there it doesn't sound like good amendments potentially being stuffed into some of these what I call good bills. So you have to, a lot can happen between now and Thursday. I'm not sure when this airs, but it could be a completely different animal by the time this airs. But we'll see. I'll just have to keep an eye on it.
However, they can go to your website if Google Representative Kim Thatcher in Oregon, and
I'm sure
find you on the website, and you'll have.
Well, or you can also look at pretty much any of the gun rights groups' websites too, because they're keeping a very close eye on this.
Okay. Overall, though, you think it sounds like the Republicans and the Democrats are fairly friendly towards the Second Amendment?
Yeah, I believe that these bills, all of them, as they sit in that committee, if they were allowed to go to the floor on the Senate side as is, I believe they would pass, every one of them. But there are some that are adamantly opposed to those very same measures and want to amend them to, either weaken them or add in a bunch of, I'd say, unpalatable things to those bills.
Yeah, and I would assume the governor won't veto anything that comes through?
Well, you don't assume anything, but I think, I don't think that will be an issue. I'm not hearing that will be an issue.
Okay.
But you don't really assume anything.
Okay. When I hear some of the stuff that happens in Washington, D.C., and then the UN, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, talking to the UN about gun rights and things like that, it kind of makes me step back and pause and go, wow, is this going to affect us here in Oregon? Is there any ways to keep our states' rights with respect to the Second Amendment and some of the other stuff? Or
yeah, we just have to keep these issues alive. There's been a number of moves by other states to invoke the sovereignty of the 10th Amendment, and we've tried it here. Last session, I think Dennis Richardson was a key proponent of that. Excuse me, he carried a bill that would, but it's not a big, it's one of those that's not rising to the surface of being necessary by the whole entire body. I mean, I do. I think it's
Uh-huh.
necessary. However, you've got 90 other people to
Yeah. So some
try to
people are
educate
just
on
kind
these
of
things.
focused on what's going on here and their thing, and they're not necessarily looking at
the bigger
or
picture
or
nationally.
concerned about that.
Well, right. Like I had a bill that would say, well, we don't need to comply with the national health care, well, Obamacare is how we like to refer to it.
Yeah.
That we would like to do our own thing and not
Uh-huh.
like your intervention. But
Yeah.
that one's not being heard either, as well as repealing Measure 66 and Measure 67. That one didn't get a hearing either. But